Hey y'all, I'm Hope, and I am super excited because today is the first day of Summerween. It's July 7th, it's the first day of the readathon, and I have been like eagerly anticipating this for weeks now. I have been like making and remaking my TBR and just kind of like waiting for it to be time because I am so excited to start reading these books. But I am so excited, and I'm gonna say that about 50 more times, so I apologize, you're just gonna have to hear it a bunch of times. But on top of that, this is also the week that my family is having a reunion, and we're gonna be at a cabin in the woods. So like it could not have been more perfect that those two things are happening at the same time, because it's gonna be like spooky and a great opportunity to get some horror books in. So I'm thrilled. My family is getting together for somewhat of a sad reason. My grandmother passed away back in December, right before Christmas, and we are getting together to have like a memorial, kind of a celebration of life reunion thing. And like it's gonna be bittersweet, but we are trying to make it like a celebration of life, like remembering my grandmother and thinking about like all the good memories we have of her, and we're gonna be like spreading ashes and things like that. So you know, it's I think it's gonna be bittersweet, but it's gonna be really nice to see everybody. And again, it's gonna be in a cabin in the woods, so it's gonna be like perfectly spooky. There's gonna be a lot of downtime because whenever my family gets together, we always inevitably end up having at least some time where we're all just kind of sitting in the same room looking at our own devices, kind of doing our own thing. So I'm gonna have probably lots of time in the evenings to be reading some books. So that's why I decided to go ahead and participate and go ahead and vlog this week. I probably won't do a huge amount of vlogging at the cabin, but I will be checking in as I'm finishing things. And yeah, that's kind of the plan. But I think let's just go ahead and talk about the books, because there are 5 prompts for this readathon, and I've spent so much time deciding what I'm gonna read for each one. And I am so excited to get to all of these. So to start, the first prompt is, oh, also my stack. Before I dive into it, I have my little stack here that I'm going to be taking with me. But to start, the first prompt is to read a book in the dark or at night. And I've chosen The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw for this. This is, I think, the shortest book I have in terms of horror. And so I thought that this would be a great one for this prompt, because it'll be really easy for me to sit down and like read this in an evening. Yeah, once it starts to get dark and everything. I may even read this one this evening. We're not leaving for the cabin until tomorrow, so I may actually read this one tonight. But we have family arriving today as well, and I'm still finishing up the last little touches on my thesis revision I've got to turn in this afternoon as well. So we'll see what happens. I may read this tonight, I may read it tomorrow evening. We'll see. But this one is following a mermaid and a plague doctor who go on some sort of journey together and end up in a creepy village full of creepy children. That's all I know about this. It sounds really fun. I haven't really seen any reviews, and I don't really know what to expect from this, but I did enjoy Cassandra Khaw's previous book, Nothing But Black and Teeth. I think I was kind of an unpopular opinion on that one because I've seen a lot of mixed and negative reviews for that, and my partner really didn't like it, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really interesting story, so I'm curious to see what they've done with this one. The next prompt is to read a thriller, and I've chosen You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron. I know this is more technically a horror book, but it sounds like it does have some thriller elements, and I did see it shelved a lot of times as a thriller on Goodreads. So I've decided to go with this one in part 2, just because I really want to get to it. It just arrived, and I'm really excited for this one because it's a Friday the 13th-esque story about Charity, who is the final girl at a kind of full contact horror summer camp experience thing at Camp Mirror Lake. And so she's been playing this final girl all summer, and then her coworkers start to go missing, and it seems like she might end up being a final girl for real. And I think that sounds like so much fun. I really like the original Friday the 13th movie, and I am thrilled that this is finally here because I've been eagerly anticipating this, and I've been wanting to try something from this author for a good long while now. I know a lot of people really liked her previous duology, which I think begins with This Poison Heart, and I might go back and try that one as well if I end up enjoying this, but it just sounds so much fun. So I'm gonna be reading that one for a thriller. Then we have to read a book set in the fall, and this took me a while to figure out because it turns out I have a lot of books set in the summer that are horror books, but not a lot of ones set in the fall. So I've ended up choosing The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones, which takes place around homecoming, which I actually had to look up because I never got involved with homecoming when I was in high school or in college. So I was like, I don't even know when this happens. I had to Google it. But it does in fact take place in usually September or October, so that's the fall. We're gonna go with it. But this one is following a girl who has previously been a final girl and is now reassembling her new homecoming court. She was a homecoming queen, and she is reassembling her court full of other final girls and misfits and various other kinds of characters. And there is something on the back about this isn't just a fight for survival, it's a fight to be the last final girl. which sounds really interesting. I've heard mixed reviews on this one because of the format. It's written as if it's a movie script, which sounds really cool to me, but I've loved everything from Stephen Graham Jones, so I'm just excited to kind of dive into this one and see what I think, especially because it is a very different format from a lot of the other books I've read from him. Next up is to read a book with orange or black on the cover, and I'm choosing The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown, which sounds like it's going to give kind of alien vibes. It's about Jacqueline Albright, who's the captain of this colony ship that has failed in its mission and is trying to return back to Earth with limited resources. And she's trying to manage the situation. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat and I keep coughing and I'm going to have to keep restarting the sentence. I'll be right back. Okay, we're good now. I got some water. I had a cold a couple of weeks ago, and unfortunately for me, anytime I get anything kind of respiratory, I end up with a lingering cough. So I've got some water now, so hopefully I won't be just coughing for 15 minutes through this clip. Anyway, back to this. Jacqueline Albright, the captain of the colony ship, is now having to try and return to Earth with limited resources, and then it turns out that there's something on the ship with them, and it's just beginning to kill off the crew one by one. It just sounds like it's gonna be like Alien, and I love that movie, so I'm really excited for this one. I haven't heard a lot of reviews for this one, but it just sounds like it's gonna be fun. As with all of these, they just sound like they're gonna be fun, and I think they're gonna be great for Summerween. So really looking forward to diving into this one as well. You may also notice I've chosen all short books because I think those are gonna be easy for me to kind of fit in around family stuff. So that was kind of the reasoning I had for this. The very last prompt and the last book is to read a manga, graphic novel, or novella. I mean, like, these are almost all novellas, but I've chosen to use Ling Hun by Ai Jiang for this one because I don't know anything about this and it sounds cool. So I picked this one up on a whim from my local bookstore. With my local Barnes & Noble. They had like a table out that was just all haunted house books, and I'd never heard of this one, but the cover kind of grabbed my attention, and I ended up looking it up, and there's very little online about it. The description on Goodreads is very brief, but it mentions that this is following the story of a family that goes to a place called Home. It's a town, H-O-M-E, all caps, and they arrive in Home, and it's a place where people go when they want to be haunted. And so it's about this family that goes there, and I believe they're trying to conjure up the ghost of their deceased son, and it's like following them, and there's also I think a perspective from somebody else who lives in the town. But it looks like it's going to be a little bit weird because there's also like the writing. I read like the first page. The writing is a kind of odd cadence to it, and then also there's like this other character, this neighborhood woman who lives nearby, is referred to only as Mrs. She has no name. So I think there's going to be kind of some weird elements to it, but it seems like it's going to be really interesting. Seems like it tackles a lot of ideas around like grief and the difficulty of letting go. So I'm curious to see what this book is going to be like, because I just genuinely don't know what to expect here. I haven't heard anything about this book. Just completely picked it up on a whim at my local Barnes & Noble, and I'm excited to dive into it and see what it's got in store for me. So that is the plan for this week. I'm going to be reading all of those. And I feel pretty good about my chances of finishing at least most of these because there is going to be a lot of downtime with my family. That's just how we do. And I'm also going to have some time in the car because the cabin that we're staying in is several hours away from my house. So I'm going to have some reading time because I think we have my mom's cousin is going to be riding with us. So they'll be like chatting and stuff. So I'll just read in the backseat. It'll be good. So yeah, that is the plan for the week. I am super excited. But for the meantime, for the time being, just blend those two things together. I need to finish up my thesis revisions, which I am getting there. I've got a couple of small sections I still need to add, and then I have one more piece that's like the middle section of the paper that I need to read through and then add some stuff and kind of flesh out my conclusion and stuff like that. So it's a lot to get done today, but it's gotta happen regardless, and that's just the plan. So anyway, I'm gonna go start tackling that and also finish up my work shift. I was taking like a quick screen break so that I could film this before I forgot, and I'm gonna, see if they need anything. I don't actually have any tasks to work on at the moment, so it is what it is. But I'm gonna go do those things, and I will check back in with you guys later. It is a number of hours later, probably close to 12 hours, but I have finished a draft of my thesis, and I sent it off to a friend of mine about an hour ago. I'm anticipating I'll probably be getting some feedback from her in the next little bit, but I'm having her just kind of look over the parts I'm most concerned about. And then I'm gonna clean it up and send it off to my advisor. And then I'm free for Summerween, and that's really exciting. My family also got here, so that's kind of, taken some of the time as well, because I walked away from my writing for a little while to go talk to them. But my family has all arrived safely, and yeah, it's just nice to get a chance to chat with everybody. Seeing a couple of cousins I haven't seen in a very long time, so yeah, it has been a successful day. Very stressful day, but a successful day. And I don't know if I'm gonna get any reading done tonight because I need to get some sleep so I can pack in the morning before we leave for this cabin trip. But I'm really pleased, and I just wanted to update and say I'd finished that draft. Happy Saturday. Today's outfit is comfy. Aiming for comfortable because we're gonna be in the car for a while today. So I am almost finished packing, and I thought I would check in because I think I'm gonna start one of my long books possibly this morning. So I'm either going to start with The Last Final Girl or get a hold of it, You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. One of these two because they're the longer two, and we're going to have several hours in the car, so I might be reading on the way there. I usually am okay with reading in the car. I don't usually have too many issues with like motion sickness or anything. So that's kind of the plan for today. I'm going to do some reading while we're on the way to the cabin, and then I'm going to pack the rest of my books so that I don't have to carry them. But I'm really excited about this, both for reading the horror books, but also getting to see everybody. Part of our family arrived yesterday evening, and they are going to be here this morning as we're kind of finishing up packing. We're all going to leave together from here, and then the rest of our family is going to meet us at the cabin this afternoon. So I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody, and I think it's going to be a really nice weekend. So yeah, can't wait to be scared while doing family things. It's gonna be good. It's Sunday now. I'm slightly sunburned and or possibly just red because I was out in the sun, rather not in the sun. I was outside. It was really hot. I'm not sure yet until if I'm sunburned or if like my skin has just turned red because I got warm, because that just kind of happens to me sometimes. So I've got to wait until it cool back down to find out. Possibly sunburned. I was sitting outside reading and I did not notice, but I have just finished You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Barron, and this book was so freaking good. I really enjoy this. It is so much fun. This is a really great slasher, and it went in so many directions I did not expect. I think there are several points in this story where you think you kind of know what's going on, and then it just totally went some other direction, and it really kept me guessing to the end. I really like the way that the kind of clues start very early in the book. You kind of get these little breadcrumbs of information, and the way that that all came together at the end was just like brilliant. I really enjoyed it. It has several twists as well that some of them I kind of saw coming, but like in the oh no kind of a way when I was figuring it out. And then there were other twists I definitely didn't see coming that were really shocking, and this was fantastic. I really enjoyed this, and I'm excited that I've been seeing so many other people reading it and saying it was good, because I hope that more and more people will pick this one up. It is just a ton of fun. I think this one gave me very like Until Dawn vibes. If you've played the video game Until Dawn, it reminded me a little bit of that in terms of just kind of the general atmosphere of it and some of what was going on, but not so much with like, I guess not so much in like specific events, but like the interactions between the characters and the kind of the group dynamic, and then this kind of like almost where like characters are making the right decisions but things are still going horribly wrong for them, because I think there are several moments in Until Dawn where you can make every right decision and still fuck up and get characters killed. And so it was just reminding me a lot of that. I think if you liked the video game Until Dawn, you will like this book, because I think it just has some fun similarities, although they're at like a summer camp and instead of a cabin in the woods in the winter, but like just the kind of general vibes reminded me a lot of that, and that's a game I really love, so it was kind of fun for me to be reading this and thinking about that. So one thing to be said for this book though is that these characters are a hell of a lot smarter than the ones in Until Dawn, because I feel like you see a lot of the characters in Until Dawn make like really dumb mistakes, or they're just doing really stupid like very classic slasher shit where it's teenagers making bad decisions, and I think this one was one where it was like teenagers mostly doing their best to make good decisions. It was very like aware, the characters are very aware of like the genre that they're in and trying to make the best decisions that they can in that situation, and I think that just really upped the tension for me, and I just loved everything about this, and the characters are so good, and the very last twist at the end of the book had my like jaw on the floor. It was so good. I really want more people to read this one. I want to have some people to talk to about this one because this is just so freaking fun. So anyway, very glad I finished that, and it's my first 5-star in a while, so definitely gonna be giving that one 5 stars, and I don't know yet what I'm gonna be reading next. I do have my little stack over here. I think I'm kind of debating between either waiting a while and reading The Salt Grows Heavy like later this evening when it gets dark so I can get that prompt out of the way, or maybe going ahead and starting maybe Ling Hun. I think I want to jump around between genres a little bit, and I have another slasher that's my other long one, but I think I kind of want to like switch to a different subgenre. So I'm not sure exactly which one I'll read yet, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be either The Salt Grows Heavy or Ling Hun. But I will check back in with you guys when I have either, well, probably when I have finished whatever book I pick, because those are both very short. But yeah, finished my first book and I'm having a really good time. My family's just kind of been hanging out, and I think my family is currently doing like a jigsaw puzzle right now, so I might go do some of that with them for a little bit. But yeah, it's just been a fun time, and I was definitely getting a little bit spooked being in the cabin last night, even though like there's a ton of us here. As it was starting to get dark, I was noticing like, oh, some of the bedrooms have external doors that lead into them and things like that. And I was like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm a little spooked, but yeah, this was, I don't know, it's been fun. That was our first night. Have a couple more days here, and I'm hopeful that I can read several more of these books. But I'm gonna go hang out with my family for a little bit, I think, first, and I'll check back in with you guys when I have picked something up. Probably when I finished the next thing, if I'm honest. We just got back from visiting Chimney Rock. It's Tuesday, no, sorry, it's Monday afternoon. My family and I just got back a little while ago from visiting Chimney Rock. We've all been kind of like resting and everything, but we got to go to Chimney Rock, and that was really cool. We got to climb up to the top and see the view. It was beautiful. I'll try to remember to insert some pictures that I took, because it was a really gorgeous view. So we did that, and then we also went to the Flowering Bridge here near Lake Lure, and it's such a cool place. It's like a garden that's on an old bridge that was decommissioned. It's just a really awesome time. We've had a really good day today. We also got ice cream at this like little local ice cream shop, and that was delicious. And yeah, it's been a really nice day. And I'm also, I think, a little sunburned on my neck there. Face was better than I thought it was going to be. I wore a hat most of the day, and I remember to put on sunscreen there, but I forgot to put any sunscreen on my neck. This happens to me. This happens to me all the time. Anyway, we had a really good time, and I also managed, just as we were pulling into the parking lot up at Chimney Rock, I finished The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. I feel like this counts. I read this in the car mostly, which is, you know, fairly dark. Well, I say mostly. I finished about half of it here at the seat yesterday evening, and then I finished it kind of early in the morning this morning, and then in the car. So I've officially finished this one, and I really enjoyed this. I didn't love this quite as much as I loved You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, and I think it's because there's a few spots in here where the kind of form of it, the writing, overtakes plot a little bit, and there were some sections where the writing was really interesting, and I think the writing in this is just kind of generally beautiful in a really kind of gross and dark way, because it's very descriptive but also very gory. I think the writing kind of overtook the plot, and there were parts where I was rereading the sentences because like it was beautiful, but I didn't understand what was happening. And so there were some sections, particularly in the first, I want to say like the first part of the book, it's split into like 3 parts in an epilogue. There's some pieces in the first part that were particularly confusing. But once I really got into it and kind of got to grips with it, I really enjoyed it. This is kind of like a dark take on The Little Mermaid, but not like the story itself, but rather what comes after. So I thought that was really interesting. There were a lot of references to The Little Mermaid, but there were also a lot of other references to other pieces of mythology, and a lot of this book was about like myth and what the stories get right or wrong, and I liked that kind of recurring idea in here. The protagonist for this one is a mermaid who is kind of all teeth, all, you know, as caring as the ocean depths, that kind of a thing. Really interesting character follow. I really liked her and the way that she kind of approached situations and the issues that she ran into across this whole journey that they went on, and I really liked the plague doctor character. They were fascinating, and I really liked the dynamic between them. So overall, really enjoyed this. I think I gave it 4 stars. I was a little confused at points, and also I think this was supposed to be set in our world, but it was really confusing because there was like references to, I think it was a reference to Europe at one point, and there was also a reference to like the Hippocratic Oath, and it just kind of was a little confusing in terms of like where or when is this set. I can't tell if it's post-apocalyptic or if it's supposed to be kind of medieval or what's happening here. I think maybe that's kind of the point, but there were parts of it that just felt really unmoored to me, so I was kind of struggling to get to grips with it. But beyond that, really fascinating story, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing whatever Cassandra Clare writes next. Oh, also, before I forget, because I'm standing here holding them, I got some souvenirs at the Chimney Rock gift shop, so I thought I would show those. Which, first of all, I bought my partner a pocket knife, like a 11 function pocket knife that has his name on it. I think that's backwards in the camera, but it's fine. And then it just says like Chimney Rock State Park on the other side. I figured it was practical, it was small, it'd be something he could like toss in his backpack or keep in his car or something in case he needed one. And then I also got myself one that just says whatever, because they don't actually have any that say hope. I couldn't find hope on anything. But I always like to have a pocket knife with me, and I used to carry one that was my grandfather's that he got when he retired as like a parting gift when he retired. And I love that one, but I was always afraid I was gonna lose it or break it because the hinges on it are a little bit old and feel a little bit flimsy. And yeah, I liked carrying it. I used it all the time, but I wanted to get one that was a little sturdier so I can have one that I can keep in my bag or keep in my car or whatever. And then for my friend, I got a sticker because they also didn't have one with her name on it. I couldn't find one with her name, nor could I find any. Like, they had a few that had like funnier inscriptions, like this whatever, but a lot of them were like #1 dad, #1 mom, like stuff like that. And or the hunter, the boss. And there just wasn't one that I think worked well. It was a funny enough one to get her, but I know she, like me, very much likes stickers, and so I found this kind of cool Chimney Rock sticker. I thought it was an interesting shape. It's got like the outline of the rock here and some of like the view that you see up there, so I thought that was a neat sticker. So that is what I got for her, and I'm excited to give it to them. I'm fine showing this here because I know my partner watches my videos a lot, but I think he should be receiving the knife before he sees this video. So this video is going up, I think, a few days after the next time I see him, so all good. I think I can show that off here and it'll be fine. The other really exciting bit of news I have is that I just got an email that I got approved for an ARC for He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan, which I am so freaking excited for. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year. I'm actually still reading the first book, She Who Became the Sun. I'm past the halfway point there, but I absolutely love the writing, I love the characters, and I can tell already it's going to be a 5-star and that it's going to be a favorite of the year. So I'm really excited. So now I know that when Summerween is over and I get back home, I'm probably going to finish up Yellowface so that I can, you know, mark that one off of my reading list, because I've been reading it for the last little while, and that's the one I've been reading the most actively off my currently reading. And then I'm going to go back and finish She Who Became the Sun and probably dive directly into He Who Drowned the World, because I'm really excited for that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've done today. I think that's my little wrap up for Monday, and I will check back in with you guys later when I've read some more. I'm planning to read The Scourge Between Stars next, although I don't have it to hold up because I put it in the other room. I carried all of my stuff into the other room, so I don't have it. It's Wednesday evening. We are back from the cabin. I didn't end up updating any yesterday, I think, because I didn't actually finish anything, but I did start, sorry, I'm out of breath from coming up the stairs with my heavy bag, but I did start The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown, and I'm really enjoying this so far. It is definitely giving me kind of alien vibes, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I think I'm like on page, oh, there's my jury duty thing. I got summoned for jury duty. I was just gonna put my desk up so I can set that down. Let me grab that so I don't forget about it. Here, we'll just stand back here. I am on page 32. So I'm only like 30 pages in, but it's not very long. I think I'm going to try and finish this. Probably not tonight. I'm very tired and I don't really want to read anything right now. I think I'm probably gonna see if I can get a friend online to play something so that we can kind of relax that way. But we had a really good time with family, and I ended up just not reading it all yesterday. We all spent some time hanging out, talking, and that kind of thing. So didn't read much at all yesterday, but I have one more day of the readathon, so I am going to try and finish as much as I can tomorrow. I am working an 8-hour day tomorrow, but I suspect there's going to be some time kind of between tasks and also during like my lunch break and stuff like that. So I am gonna try and at least finish this so I can have read 3 books for the readathon, and I'll be pretty happy with that, especially since I also was spending a lot of time with family and doing things there. So overall, it's been a really good trip. It's been a really good vacation. Yeah, I got a few more days before I get any thesis feedback, so I'm probably gonna try and polish off whatever I don't finish for this readathon through the end of the week, and then I'm gonna finish Ye It Became the Sun and get started on that arc I just got approved for. But that's kind of the plan. I think I'm gonna see if I can play some Greedfall or some Awakened with my friend, because that's just what I feel like doing. I really enjoy spending time with my family, and it's good, but also I'm glad to be back in my own home, and I get to sleep on my own bed again, so that's definitely a plus. It was good to see everybody though, and it's been a while since we've all been in the same place, so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. That's why I'm kind of getting rambly. I haven't done anything of note in the last little bit, but I am going to try and finish this tomorrow, so hopefully I'll be able to check back in with some actual thoughts on this, because at the moment all I really have to say is that there is some really interesting stuff happening with the main character's family. I'm really curious to see where that's going to go, and there's a bit where they get kind of an ominous warning about don't open a door from someone, but it's unclear what they mean by that, and I think I figured out what they mean, and it's one of those like, oh no kind of moments where you see it coming. I think I'm right. I might be wrong, but I think I know what it's about. So I'm curious to see how that's all going to play out, and I'm enjoying it so far, and I really am curious to see what the threat is going to be, because so far there have been like some spooky happenings, but we don't have actually like a monster or any kind of like specific threat other than the kind of looming doom of running out of resources, which is kind of the backdrop of the story. So yeah, it's really good so far, and I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow. Well, I think I have to admit defeat. I'm not going to finish The Scourge of Teen Stars before the end of the day, so I'm not going to get that 3rd book in. But I am nearing the halfway point of this, and I am really liking it. I think it's doing a really good job of like slowly ratcheting up the tension and creating some like dread, because there's clearly something like very creepy happening here, and there's like not much has happened yet. Like a lot has happened, but also not much has happened. There's been a lot of stuff like on a large scale, but most of what the book has been dealing with so far has been the kind of politics of being on this ship where resources are limited and they don't know if or when they're going to make it back to Earth. And so it's been dealing with that and the kind of psychological repercussions of that for the main character, who is the first mate of the bring my words together. She's the first mate of the ship. Her father is the captain, she's first mate, but she is acting as the captain because he hasn't come out of his cabin in a while. And so that, like, that situation and the kind of psychological aspects of it for her are really interesting. I'm finding her relationships with the other crew members really interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. Even though I'm not going to finish it tonight, I think I probably will finish it maybe tomorrow or the next day, just depending on what all I have going on. I was going to try and finish it tonight, but I'm planning to finish Greedfall with a friend of mine this evening, because we were like right at the very end. We're on like the last couple of quests, so we're going to finish up that instead. But I am just loving this. I think it's great, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. So, you know, I feel like this was still a very successful Summerween. I can't remember how much I read for the last one. I don't think it was very much, so I feel like, you know, I feel like this was successful. I'm still really happy with what I managed to read. So let me grab the other books and I'll do a quick recap. So overall, I read like 2.5 books, basically. And I did manage to finish You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, which I gave 5 stars. Really loved this. I'm probably going to reread this at some point because I really liked the way that the like threads came together. I think this is really fascinating and a really fun slasher. And then I read Salt Grows Heavy, which is kind of confusing but a really interesting look at myth and legend and stories, and you know what gets repeated and what doesn't. I really enjoyed this. I think the relationship at the core of this is really beautiful in a really dark way. Gave this 4 stars, and now I am halfway through this. There is clearly something very spooky happening on this ship. There's like random banging on the walls wherever the captain goes. There's weird things happening with their systems, and then there's also a lot of like kind of human politics happening of just dealing with the situation on the ship. So really interesting, really looking forward to finishing this one, and I anticipate I'll probably finish it soon. So I managed to read those. I did not manage to read these two, but that is okay. I will probably pick them up probably closer to spooky season now. But yeah, I feel like this was really successful. I had a great time, and now I am gonna go play some Greedfall and try to polish off that game because I've been playing that for like 3 years now. So that is the plan. So anyway, let me know what you thought of any of these books down in the comments below if you've read any of them, or if you have thoughts on the two I didn't get to. I would love to hear what you guys have to say on these. And let me know also if you like this video. I really hope that you have, and if you have, I hope you'll consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting every Tuesday and Saturday, so there is more content coming soon, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.